What's going on, guys? I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Welcome back to another weekend in the lawn. In today's video, we are going to be following up with our JTLK Test Plot 2019. With all that being said, let's get into the video, bruh. Okay, so real quick, let's go ahead and talk about the lawn itself. So you guys remember who've been watching the videos that this lawn is 2,000 square feet, including the deck and the pool that I now have. And what I've done at the beginning of this series is I've effectively broken this lawn up into 3 sections. Section 1 being 500 square feet, Section 2 being 1,000 square feet, and Section 3 being another 500 square feet. And what I've been doing is I've been running 2 of these areas off of specific regimens for the season. To be more specific with that, Section 1 I've been running on a no macronitrogen regimen for the season, and I'm accomplishing that by using products from the next line like the 002 microgreen, as well as some specialties like the Aerate, the RGS, the Humic 12, the D-Thatch. And then we come over to Section 2, and what I've been doing there is I've been comparing granular fertility versus liquid fertility, and the products I'm comparing there are 1801 GreeNe Punch and Milorganite. I am running them per the schedules and the rates recommended by the manufacturers. As far as what I've been doing for Section 3, which is this area along the far side of my backyard, I really haven't been doing anything specific to it. Back when I started this project, originally this area of my lawn was going to be my control area thing, but over time this just became my leftover spot. If I have any next cocktails or anything that I might mix up for the LCN Lawn Revival or my Next Step liquid lawn care program that I'm doing out in the front, and I have anything left over, I might go ahead and spray this area right here. So a couple of days ago, this area actually got some leftovers from the front lawn, little next cocktail that I like to call Quadruple Dark. While the color is looking good, the results really can't speak for me just yet, as it's only been a couple of days. But if you guys would like to learn a little bit more about Quadruple Dark, what it is, the products it entails, and the results you can reap from it, then make sure that you tune into my Next Step liquid lawn care program playlist that I will leave here in the eye in the top right corner, as well as linked in the description below to see that video with all those details. I'm going to be putting down my next applications for all the sections today. Section 1 is going to get another dose of microgreen, as well as some D-Thatch in there, just to help break up that thatch and put it back down into the soil and stimulate a little bit of microbial activity in the process to help build my soil. And on Section 2, again, I'm running that area per the labeled rates by the manufacturers. The GreeNe Punch I am going to be running at 12 ounces per thousand because we are in the summer. While we're not dry yet, we're starting to get really hot out here, and the last thing I want to do is push the lawn really hard when it's hot. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to run the liquid fertility side at 12 ounces per thousand. On the other half, where I'm doing Milorganite, I'm going to be doing that a little differently. In fact, because we are getting the rain, I am going to go ahead and put down full rate. It's not going to hurt anything. The lawn's not dry. It's not stressing out. But because I really don't have much flexibility with the granular, I'm just going to go ahead and stick with the full rates per the holiday schedule by the manufacturer, as I also want to see how the product is going to perform at keeping that area nice and green. Okay, so real quick while I'm here today, one more thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and give you guys some summer lawn tips. We are going to be covering 4 categories: mowing, fertilizing, irrigation, and weed control. So as far as mowing goes, when we're in the heat of the summer, we want to make sure that we're mowing our lawn as tall as we can. We want to shade that root zone to help the grass retain moisture and push deeper roots. And we also want to leave more leaf blade surface at this time to promote more photosynthesis in the plant. When you leave more leaf blade surface, that leaves more room for more photosynthesis. It's kind of like gas in your car, right? If you have a bigger tank, you're able to fit more gas in that tank. It's the same with the lawn. lawn. If you leave more leaf blade surface, then more photosynthesis can happen and more up and down growth will be promoted in the process. The second thing I want to talk about with mowing is make sure that you mow frequently. Make sure that you follow the 1/3 rule. Make sure that you don't cut off any more than 1/3 of the grass blade's length in a single mowing. If it's viable for you, make sure that you commit to mowing your lawn at least twice a week. That'll make sure that you're cutting off no more than that 1/3 we talked about, and in the process you will stimulate more growth. While we're on the topic of mowing, I really want to go ahead and preface the fact that mowing frequently and consistently is important. In order for a grass plant to stand up straight, they are supported by what are called crowns. You can see in this picture of the anatomy of the grass plant right here, that crown is the foundation of the grass plant, or as I like to call, the tree trunk of the lawn that helps the grass plant stand straight up so that it could absorb all of that sunlight to promote more photosynthesis. And what can happen is if you're not mowing the lawn regularly, you're not mowing it frequently, the lawn can start to gradually get overgrown, and as that lawn grows taller, those crowns are going to come up as well. And when you come in and you mow your lawn for the first time in 2-3 weeks, you're going to notice that at the end of the cut, your lawn is going to have a brown hazy appearance. What you're seeing are those grass crowns. Okay, so let me go ahead and illustrate what I was talking about as far as the grass crowns when you don't mow your lawn properly. So what I've done is I've taken an area from my test plot here. This is section 1, and I mowed 2-3 strips in the middle, a 1/2 inch lower than I typically mow. So this entire test plot here, this is a KBG rye mix, and it's mowed at 4 inches. So what I've done here is I've mowed these 2 passes here at 3.5 inches. So let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on over here. So when we get down here and look, you can see while we have some good grass in here, we also have a lot of these. See? We also have a lot of these in there. See these tree trunk-like structures growing in the lawn? Yeah, those are the crowns, and what those came from was the improper mowing that I've been doing here all these years. I used to let this lawn get so overgrown to a point where I was cutting way more than I should have off, and when I let it grow that much, what happened was these crowns, which used to be all the way down here, started to get taller and taller to compensate for that growth. So now that I've done that, I'm kind of stuck with this all over the place, right? So what I've been doing to compensate for that is I've just been mowing the lawn taller, right? So that's where I used to mow the lawn, 3.5 inches, and to compensate, I rose the height up to 4 inches. You can definitely see a big difference in the mowing. So to go a little more in depth with this mowing explanation here, let's go ahead and take a look at my front lawn here. This is a mixture of a little bit of rye and mostly Kentucky bluegrass. The only difference is that my front lawn, I mow this lawn at least twice a week. Sometimes I'll go crazy and mow it every 2 days, but for the most part, I mow it twice a week, and the highest I cut it is 3.5 inches, which is where I'm at right now. And as you can see, it looks really good. And the reason it looks better than, say, my back lawn, I've trained my lawn this low back in the beginning. So because of that, every time I cut this lawn at 3.5 inches, it always looks good because I've trained those crowns to stay back down in the ground where they belong, to incorporate more grass blades, which results in that nice dark blue-green color that we all know and love. So it just goes to show that if your lawn is looking brown and hazy from that low mow, it's probably not used to it and you need to start mowing it taller. But if you've been mowing it like this since the beginning, you're not going to have that problem. Okay, so the second thing I want to talk about is going to be fertilization. Fertilizing your lawn in the summer. It's very important that you get this right because during this time, especially if you live in a cool season zone like I do, this is typically when the growth is going to slow down and the lawns are going to take a break, right? The lawns are not as vigorous right now as they are in the spring and fall, and because of that, the last thing we want to do is push the lawn really hard and stimulate more growth. What I recommend you do is back off on your application rates. So if you guys have been applying Milorganite and you've been doing that on the monthly at 12 pounds per thousand, Milorganite is a 6,4-0, and at 12 pounds per thousand, you're getting about 3/4 pound of nitrogen. Maybe consider backing down to 8 pounds per thousand, which will give you about just under 1/2 pound of nitrogen. Perfect for the summer as it will not push the lawn too hard. And if you're on a liquid fertility program, I recommend you practice what is called microdosing, or spoon feeding, as a lot of people in the community call it. Basically what that means is that instead of giving the lawn a large dosage of product once a month, let's go ahead and lighten up on the application rates and do it more often. So a good example would be 1801 GreeNe Punch. Let's say we put that down at 12 ounces per thousand and we're doing that once a month. Instead, what we would do is we would take the application rates down and we would put down, say, 6 ounces per thousand today, and then follow up 2 weeks from now with another 6 ounces. See? Microdosing. And the best part about microdosing like that is that it can also save you a little bit of time and money in the long run. If you want to at this time, you can actually get away with skipping a few applications, because if you look at the lawn 2 weeks after you put down that first 6 ounces of GreeNe Punch and you notice the lawn is looking great, it's standing tall, it's got a nice double dark green color that we all talk about, then there's no need to push it anymore. Whereas if you would have put down the full 12 ounces at the beginning of the month, you probably would have given the lawn a little bit of an extra push that it probably wouldn't have needed, as we are in the summer and we don't want to push too much growth. The third thing I'm going to talk about is going to be irrigation. Now, for those of us here in the Midwest who are getting a lot of rain in the forecast, this isn't something you have to worry about just yet. But for those of you guys who haven't been getting a lot of rain for long periods of time and the temperatures have been hot, then it's very important that you pay attention. So once you notice your lawn starting to look a tick gray bluish, that's when you want to go ahead and start watering it. And then when you do start watering it, it's very important that you get this right, because the idea in the summer here is we want to continue to promote deeper root growth. And the way we do that with our watering is to water the lawn deep and infrequent. One mistake I see a lot of people make, especially when they're first-time homeowners, they just move into a house, they just get their sprinkler system installed, they think they have to water the lawn 10 minutes a day. And when they do that, they're not allowing that water to get deep down into the soil where it needs to be. Instead, that water is going to remain at the surface of the lawn, and it's going to cause what I like to call the koi pond effect, which basically means that nothing is getting down into the soil, and because of that, instead of going down into the soil like they're supposed to, the roots are going to go where the food is. Instead of growing down, they're going to go up where the water is, because you did not water deep enough. So what I recommend you do in the summer is, if you're watering every day and you're doing it 10 minutes, let's readjust your thinking. We want to water the lawn deep, and we don't want to do it so frequently. So a good watering cycle that I recommend would be to water the lawn 2 to 3 times a week, and you water the lawn a ½ inch each time. As far as how to measure that, just get a cup that's a ½ inch deep and put that in the middle of your sprinkler stream, and once that's filled up to the ½ inch mark, then you know you're good and you've gotten down a good ½ inch of water. Now again, you want to do that 3 times a week, and you want to do that infrequently. The idea here is 2 things. We want to allow that water to get deep down into the soil where the roots are, so that we can encourage them to grow deeper. And the second thing is, we want to allow the lawn to dry off, right? While it's good to water the lawn in the summer, the last thing we want to do is water the heck out of it, which can result in nutrient depletion in the long run. If you've been watering your lawn frequently and you've been doing it 10 minutes each time, readjust your thinking and do it deep and infrequent, 3 times a week, ½ inch each time. Okay, so the last thing I want to talk about is going to be summer weed control. I often get asked, hey Jake, can I spray weed control in the summer? And the answer is yes. But before you pick up any weed control, or really any pesticide or herbicide or insecticide for that matter, make sure that you read the label on the product you're using, because, as I always say, label is law, and it'll answer a lot of the questions that you have going into it. Now, for purposes of this video, I recommend that you look for heat restrictions on the product. Basically, what that means is that you're not supposed to apply the product at a certain outside temperature. A good example would be, do not apply this product if temperatures exceed 90 degrees. And the reason they tell you that is because if you do that, you're holding the risk of damaging your turf grass. So make sure that you read the label and stay within the heat restrictions. Now, what I recommend for best practice, if you can control it, is to spray weeds in the evening. And the reason I recommend you do that is because at this time the sun is going down, the temperature is getting cooler, and after you spray the weed control, you're giving it time to absorb through the leaves and dry before the next heat wave on the following day. So that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will show you how to get the deepest, darkest, greenest, thickest lawn on the block. I'm Jake the Lawn Kid. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys next time. If I don't see you guys next time, you're gonna be dominated, bro. See you later. I'll tell you what, there's no better way to wrap up a video on a hot summer day than to jump in the pool.